The internet. We say we are on it. We talk about the cloud. It feels like a space that is everywhere and nowhere. You tap your phone. A world of information appears. You send a message. It travels across continents. You watch a movie. It streams into your living room from some distant, almost magical library. This digital world seems weightless. It feels free, open, without borders. It's like a public square for the planet. Anyone can connect, share ideas, access knowledge without asking permission. This perception is powerful. It shapes how we use the internet every day. We rarely stop to think how it all works. The internet is like the air we breathe, always there. We rely on it for work, for school, for staying in touch with family and friends. We use it to navigate our cities, to order food, to entertain ourselves. The convenience makes it easy to forget. It's a system, a complex man-made system. We don't see the gears behind the screen. We just experience a seamless flow of data, the joy of a video call with someone far away. This invisibility is by design. The ownerless, ethereal feeling is a beautiful illusion. Information doesn't just float in cyberspace. The cloud is not a puffy white thing in the sky. It has a physical address. Every email you send exists on a real machine. Every photo you upload sits on a real machine. Every website you visit lives on a real machine in a real building. This world sits on a very solid foundation, a foundation of steel, concrete, glass, plastic. It requires immense energy and constant human effort to maintain. The internet is not magic. It's a massive global machine. The idea it's a free, open frontier is a myth. A comforting myth, but a myth. The experience feels boundless. Reality differs. The infrastructure is not a shared global commons. It is bought and sold. It is built and maintained. It is controlled and regulated. Next time you go online, remember, you're not entering a void. You're plugging into a tangible network with real rules and real owners. So, if the internet is not a magical cloud, what is it? It is a network of networks, a sprawling, interconnected system of physical hardware. Imagine massive buildings filled with humming computers. These are data centers. They store the websites, videos, and photos we access. Picture thick, fiber optic cables buried deep beneath the oceans. These cables carry our data between continents at nearly the speed of light. Think about the cell towers that dot our landscapes, connecting our mobile devices to the wider network. This is the internet's true form, a colossal piece of global engineering. This vast infrastructure did not appear out of thin air. It was built by people. It is maintained by engineers. It is powered by massive amounts of electricity. Every single part of this system, from the smallest fiber optic strand to the largest data center, has an owner. Companies invested hundreds of millions of dollars to lay the undersea cables. Other corporations built the server farms that house our digital lives. Your local internet service provider owns the lines that connect your home to the global network. Nothing about this is free. The construction, the maintenance, the electricity, it all comes with a price tag. This brings us to the central question of our journey. Who owns the internet? The answer is not simple. There is no single king or queen of the web. Instead, ownership is fragmented. It is a complex web of corporations, governments, and organizations, each controlling a different piece of the puzzle. Some companies own the physical cables. Others own the data centers. Your internet service provider controls your last-mile connection. Tech giants control the platforms where we spend most of our time. This patchwork of ownership has profound consequences. The people and companies who own the infrastructure have the power to control it. They can decide who gets access and at what speed. They can influence what information we see and what we do not. They can set the prices we pay to get online. In a world that depends so heavily on digital connectivity, the ownership of the internet's physical backbone is one of the most important and least understood issues of our time. The invisible structures that hold up our digital world are where the real power lies. We need to look behind the screen to see who is pulling the levers. Our planet is wrapped in a web of glass. This is not a metaphor. Deep on the ocean floor, hundreds of fiber optic cables stretch between continents. These are the arteries of the internet. When you send an email from New York to London, it doesn't fly through the air or get beamed by a satellite. Instead, it becomes a pulse of light. This light zips through a thin strand of glass, thinner than a human hair, buried beneath the waves of the Atlantic Ocean. Building this submarine network is a monumental task. Specialized ships, costing hundreds of millions of dollars, slowly unspool the cables onto the seabed. They use underwater plows to dig trenches, protecting the lines from fishing nets and ship anchors. These cables are marvels of engineering. At their core are the delicate glass fibers. Surrounding them are layers of steel wire, copper sheathing, and tough polyethylene plastic. So who owns these vital data conduits? In the early days, it was often consortiums of national telecom companies. Today, the biggest players are tech giants: Google, Meta, Microsoft, Amazon. They need massive, reliable bandwidth to connect their global data centers and deliver their services like search, social media, and cloud computing. By owning the cables, they guarantee the speed and stability of their own products, gaining a significant advantage over competitors. They are building private roads across the ocean floor. Once data crosses an ocean, it needs a place to go. This is the job of the data center. Forget the idea of a cloud. Think instead of massive, windowless buildings. Inside, endless rows of humming server racks. These computers store the websites we browse, the videos we stream, and the photos we share with our friends. They are the physical home for our digital lives. These data fortresses are among the most secure and sophisticated buildings on the planet. They have multiple, redundant power sources and advanced cooling systems to keep the servers running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no matter what. Security is intense. Fences, biometric scanners, and round-the-clock guards protect the valuable data within. And once again, the biggest owners are the giants of the tech industry. Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud. They operate hundreds of hyperscale data centers scattered across the globe. When a business, a government agency, or a startup says they are moving to the cloud, they are really just renting space on computers inside these companies' data centers. This consolidation is staggering. A huge portion of the modern internet now runs on the infrastructure owned by just 3 corporations. This concentration of physical hardware creates a new kind of power. These companies are the landlords of the digital world. They set the rent. They make the rules. If one of these major cloud providers has a significant outage, vast swathes of the internet can go dark. The final and often most challenging part of the trip is called the last mile. This is the physical connection that brings the internet from the main network into your home, your school, your office. This part of the network is controlled by Internet Service Providers, or ISPs. These are the companies you pay each month for your internet connection. These companies own and maintain the physical infrastructure that reaches individual customers. They lay the coaxial cables. They string the fiber lines. They build the cell towers. The ownership of the last mile creates significant challenges. Because building this infrastructure is so expensive, there is often very little competition. This creates a digital divide. While corporations own most of the internet's infrastructure, governments retain the ultimate form of control: sovereign power. The internet's physical components, cables, data centers, cell towers, all exist within the borders of a nation. This means they are subject to that nation's laws and regulations. Governments can demand that companies block certain websites, hand over user data, or shut down services entirely. This creates a splinter net, a fragmented web where a user's access to information is determined by their geographical location. In more extreme cases, governments can order a complete internet shutdown during protests, elections, or civil unrest. This is the internet's kill switch. Governments also play a major role in surveillance. They can tap into fiber optic cables or demand that tech companies provide a backdoor to their encrypted services. The freedom you experience online is always conditional, existing at the pleasure of both the company you pay and the government whose laws you live under. The control of internet infrastructure is not just a technical issue, it is a question of power. One of the most direct and damaging uses of this power is censorship. It is a carefully curated space where dissenting voices can be systematically silenced. This is used to hide corruption, to suppress political opposition, to control the public narrative. Companies face a brutal choice: comply and be complicit, or refuse and risk having their service blocked nationwide. In extreme cases, governments order an internet shutdown, a digital nationwide curfew. The effect is immediate. Communication stops. Beyond outright blocking, there is a more subtle way to control the internet experience: throttling. This is the practice of intentionally slowing down specific types of internet traffic. An ISP might also own a cable television service. To give its own product an advantage, it could slow down the traffic from competing streaming services. This makes the competitor's videos buffer constantly. This practice undermines a key principle of the early internet: net neutrality. Net neutrality is the idea that all data on the internet should be treated equally. Without these protections, ISPs can act as gatekeepers, picking winners and losers online. They could charge websites extra fees for fast lane access, creating a two-tiered internet. Startups and nonprofits that cannot afford to pay these fees would be stuck in the slow lane. The same infrastructure that delivers the internet to us can also be used to watch us. Every action you take online creates a trail of data. Corporations use this surveillance for commercial purposes. They track your clicks, likes, and searches to build a detailed profile. This business model, known as surveillance capitalism, underpins much of the free internet. Governments, on the other hand, use this surveillance for intelligence and law enforcement. In some countries, intelligence agencies tap directly into the fiber optic cables that carry global internet traffic. This constant surveillance erodes privacy. It creates a chilling effect where people may become afraid to express certain opinions or challenge authority for fear of being watched. The power to build the internet is also the power to decide where it is built. Companies prioritize building high-speed networks in dense, wealthy urban areas where they can get the most paying customers. This economic reality creates a deep and persistent problem: the digital divide. The gap between those with access to fast, affordable, reliable internet and those who do not. Being disconnected means being shut out of the modern economy and the public square. Without it, it is harder to apply for jobs, for children to do their homework, or to access government services. The digital divide reveals a core tension. Is the internet a consumer product or an essential public utility like water or electricity? The power to control the physical network has excluded millions from the digital age. In response to centralization, a new movement is trying to reclaim the internet's original promise. They're building decentralized networks using technologies like blockchain. Instead of storing a website on one company's server, a decentralized site is broken into pieces and stored on computers of thousands of volunteers. To censor the site, you'd need to shut down every hosting computer. Nearly impossible. In a decentralized system, you could own your data. Your digital identity, your photos, your messages could be stored in a secure, encrypted vault only you control. This flips the power dynamic from surveillance capitalism to data sovereignty. But the decentralized dream faces big challenges. The tech is complex and not very user-friendly. It often struggles with speed and with scale. A new race is on to blanket the sky with thousands of small, low Earth orbit satellites. SpaceX's Starlink, Amazon's Project Kuiper. This proximity allows them to deliver high-speed, low-latency internet to almost any point on the planet. This new satellite internet has the potential to solve the digital divide. For the communities left behind by terrestrial infrastructure, satellites offer a lifeline. This creates a new form of geopolitical power. A company that controls a global satellite network can provide internet access to a country, even if its own government has ordered a shutdown. However, this future is not without its own concerns. The proliferation of thousands of satellites creates a risk of space debris and light pollution, which can interfere with astronomy. A counter-trend is emerging, called edge computing. The idea is to move computing power away from the central cloud and closer to where the data is actually being generated. A self-driving car cannot wait a few hundred milliseconds for a decision from a distant data center. It needs to make decisions instantly. By processing data locally at the edge, these applications can respond in real time. Artificial intelligence is the engine that will power this intelligent edge. AI algorithms will be essential for managing these complex distributed networks. The edge will become valuable new real estate. Telecom companies, factory owners, and even commercial property managers could become the landlords of the edge. As data becomes the world's most valuable resource, governments are becoming increasingly concerned. This has led to a growing movement for digital sovereignty. Many countries are now pushing for the creation of sovereign clouds, ensuring that the data of its government, businesses, and citizens is stored on infrastructure within its own borders, subject to its own laws. This push for digital sovereignty is creating a new map of the internet. It is a move away from a borderless, global cloud towards a world of distinct, national clouds. In the hands of authoritarian regimes, the concept of digital sovereignty can also be used as a justification for greater surveillance and control over their own citizens, walling off their section of the internet from the outside world. We began with a simple question: who owns the internet? Ownership is a fractured mosaic of private power and state authority. This brings us to a final, fundamental question. Should this critical infrastructure be treated as a private asset, or should it be treated as a public utility? A market-driven approach has driven rapid innovation, but also led to immense concentration of power and a deep digital divide. A public approach could prioritize equitable access, but might stifle innovation. The challenge for our society is to find the right balance. It requires a conversation not just about technology, but about values. What kind of internet do we want? For most of us, this complex reality remains hidden. This invisibility is a problem. When we do not understand how a system works, we cannot participate in shaping its future. The first step towards reclaiming a voice in the future of the internet is simply to become aware. To recognize that our connection is not magic, but a service delivered through a physical infrastructure that is controlled and contested. It means asking questions. It means supporting policies and organizations that advocate for an open, fair, and accessible internet for everyone. It means seeing the internet not as a given, but as a system we can influence. The internet feels invisible, but it's owned, built, and controlled. Subscribe to Kendu Global Files for more 20-minute documentaries exposing the hidden structures shaping modern life.